All right. Welcome, guys. We have another interview with Vlad Kosmin, Vice President of Boosteroid. He should be arriving soon. He is a little late, but we've got some serious updates to go over. Okay, this is a big one. When I got these updates yesterday, these are something else. I can't wait for him to join and talk about them because he needs to go into some detail about a lot of this stuff, and it should be good. But he should be arriving any moment now.
Fair enough.
Hype indeed, hype indeed. But I've got a lot of your questions here that we should be covering. As you know, probably we'll go over them later in the stream. Probably after his presentation, but it should be good.
Yeah. Obviously, cloud news has been a little slow for a bit, so this should kick up the pace a bit for us.
Yeah, January and February have always been kind of slow for cloud in general for us. So it's this November and December are very good months because everybody's home. So. But everybody's back to work January, February, and no one has really the time to game as much as they would, when the holidays are rolling. So, do you think these upgrades would rival GeForce Now? You just have to wait. You just have to wait.
Oh,
I know.
We have an inkling, but we're gonna get into that soon.
Yeah, we'll get in that soon. But yeah, it's a good one. All right, here we go. Vlad, I'll wait, unmute.
Hi guys, hello.
Hey.
How's it going?
Okay, you are faceless.
Yeah, it should
There
be
we go.
There he is.
Okay.
Perfect. Thanks for joining us, Vlad. It's been a little bit.
It
Yeah,
has
Good
been.
to see you.
Welcome back.
Yeah, thanks. Good to see you again, guys.
All right, so Boosteroid's infrastructure and function update plans. Do you want to take us through this deck?
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so you have it, right?
Yes, I do.
Great. So we'll start with this, right?
All right, so next slide.
Okay. Yeah, so just to give a little bit of background, because I know previously what we talked about was more strategy, business side, expansion side, and so on. But I feel like you guys really want to know a little bit more in technical terms, right? What's happening in Boosteroid? What are we doing? What are we up to? So just a little background to that. We, as you know, work with AMD very closely on the hardware solutions. We utilize AMD GPU, RX 7900 XT for the recent deployments. And this is a very unique thing on the market because we're using a desktop GPU that is customized by AMD, by other partners, and by us, so that we can use it in the server. So the key thing, right, is not just the hardware, not just the piece of metal. It's also the software.
Wait, Vlad. Don't go into that yet. Just let's get there first.
Okay.
All right, let's go on to the next slide. All right, so let's talk about some of this.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was leading to. So we, due to the collaboration with AMD, we are now changing the technologies that were available and upgrading, updating, enhancing our tech stack. And what you see here is the new capture technology. Why is this important? Because this will improve very significantly how our system works from the inside. What's happening right now, we use the standard capture technology, and it competes with the GPU a little bit. So it tries to capture the image, the GPU is doing the same thing, and they're kind of competing. Like it's a very, I don't know, guys, to what extent you know all this technical stuff. I don't know that. So I will be speaking like a kid,
That's fine, yeah.
Or like or like president-elect.
Yeah, it's super high level.
Easy, plain language. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay. We will get rid of this internal competition, and we will capture the stream, the image, in a better way. This will reduce latency, not by 2000 millisecond, but people will feel it. And on top of that, this will just optimize, the resource allocation, how the system works internally. So reduced latency, better image quality. That's the key takeaways.
Awesome. So let's go into a little bit more detail on what you mean by this.
That's another thing.
Mhm.
And it's called service level frame generation via fluid motion frames. And what's that about? Like, in a very nutshell, is that frame generation, where we had 2 frames, we'll have 3 frames. And this is also an AMD technology, and we'll use it on our GPU. And the GPU will prepare 2 frames and then put the 3rd frame in the middle, which will make the overall gameplay and the stream smoother. And I know you guys, at least I remember from not a very long time ago, your videos where you said that the stream is not 100% smooth. Like, you want it to be smoother on Boosteroid, I mean. So this is what we're going to do to fix this. And with this fluid motion frames, with this frame generation technology, we will have more frames, a smoother gameplay, a smoother stream, less freezes, and things like that. That's pretty much about it.
So when you say service level, that means you'll have frame generation on for games that don't necessarily have it supported?
Yeah, that's actually the main point. So we're going to have all those technologies and all those improvements that I've just talked about, and we'll be talking later. We'll have this on the level of the stream, right? So it will not be related to any particular title that support or does not support this. Meaning, if frame generation is not available in a game you want to play, you will still benefit from it because it's enabled on the level of the Boosteroid service, on the stream level, right? So we're no longer limited by games and by what they are capable of, how well they are integrated with GPUs and so on, whether they support all these technologies. We no longer care because we support them on our system level. And
That's amazing.
Everybody, regardless of the game, you'll enjoy it.
That's amazing. So along with frame generation, you also have FSR doing the exact same thing, correct?
So FSR essentially the upscaler, and the image will be better, the picture will be clearer, crispy clear, and I mean, it really takes the quality to the next level, and
Yes,
we've been
it does.
working on that for quite a long time because we know it's important, and we know that there are some things that we should improve. We've always known about that, and we've been working on that. And thanks to AMD, we can use some of those amazing technologies that really help us take the quality to the next level.
Yes. So just to wrap our head around it, I noticed that you have the new indie game here, which did not support any AMD technologies at all. So what you're saying is that even though indie can only support NVIDIA technologies, now you can run in the new indie game with FSR and frame generation on your service with those technologies, with frame generation and FSR.
Yeah. So the thing is that regardless of the game, right? You will benefit from all those technologies because they are enabled on the system layer, streaming layer of Boosteroid. And this does not necessarily mean that you will, that these technologies will be utilized with every single game in a same manner, but it means where there is a room for improvement, where you can have a better quality, you will have it. And this will not longer be tied to the specific title that supports or does not support
Right.
a particular tech.
Are there limitations to games? Is this all games, or is this just like a select games?
It's basically everything you stream through Boosteroid.
Awesome. Every game. That's amazing. That's groundbreaking.
Yeah,
That
on
is that
some
I
levels,
can't wait to
it's
test this.
I have nothing to add. Yeah, it is. It really is.
that's good.
That is awesome. All right,
Yeah.
let's get into some details about the hardware. Now, go ahead
All
into
right.
details about what the changes you made to the infrastructure.
Yeah. So you guys know about that already, and I think last time we talked, I mentioned that we figured out. I mean, we've always known that, but we came to the point where we make it happen, and you need a pure performance of a gaming PC in the cloud. You don't need a a server GPU made for AI, machine learning, big data, any other stuff. You need gaming stuff.
Gaming.
And a
Yep.
desktop GPU produced by a company that is making desktop GPUs for gaming is exactly what you need. And that's how we end up using desktop GPUs from AMD. And this really changed everything in terms of how the infrastructure is built. And let's say we had a proof of concept with the previous rollouts of the hardware in Europe and the US, and now also in Brazil. And we proved this concept. I mean, there was no doubt that it's going to work, but anyway, we proved it. So we're going to continue with this. We'll keep using desktop GPUs. No turning back. Never coming back to those data center stuff.
Okay.
That is less optimized for gaming, much more expensive, and a very good product if you are running AI, big data, or stuff. If you're running gaming, you need what we utilize right now.
Okay, let's get into that. So explain the new hardware.
Yeah. So we'll have, I think, we will have it on a few next slides. We'll get to that. We are going to change the whole setup, the architecture. We'll have a some sort of like blade based solution with one CPU, one GPU per virtual machine, and you'll see it. I mean, it's very well written on the picture that you have on the couple of slides. So it's a node-based architecture that we're going to use, and we specifically are looking into new CPUs and new GPUs because AMD has announced the release of the next gen GPU, so we'll be using that, and we will also use AMD CPU, the new one. We're still selecting between a few, but they will be much better than what we use now. Also, a very good product from AMD, Epic CPU, 4th gen, really nice processor. But again, we're gamers. We need gaming stuff, so we're looking more into the desktop solutions, not only on the GPU but also on the CPU side. And we are going to use that. This will improve the performance, specifically in the open world games and games that require lots of processing power from the CPU side. So this is the plan for 2025 already, and we're now actively researching and doing R&D together with AMD and other partners to make sure we can deploy this as soon as possible.
Awesome. So basically what you're saying is that this is the generation, these are the generations that you're looking into. You don't have the exact models right now.
We have several of them, and we're still testing which one is the best.
Okay. All right. That's very interesting. I'm very interested in the models that you have. But let's go into what the current architecture is right now, and then we'll go into a little bit more specifics about the new one.
Yeah. I mean, he just mentioned the Epic is what we're using.
Yes, he just mentioned that this is what we have. This is what they're running right now, and then this is the node-based architecture.
Yep, this is exactly what he just went over. So
yep.
Yeah.
So this is literally better than what I just upgraded my PC to a couple months ago. So this is hot.
this is very hot. So my question is, now that you're running dedicated consumer-based CPU and GPU, will this mean that the anti-cheat for a lot of these games will now be playable? Can you get through that? Let's say FC 2425 and PUBG is all blocking the anti-cheats, or the anti-cheat is blocking these games because it's on a VM.
Right.
Will this solve that issue?
We'll see about that. And this, I mean, overall, the way we work with the game, I mean, technically, will improve a lot, and this will be a much more native environment for the title to run in than what we have today. So that's for sure. And one of the reasons we work with AMD, and one of the key approaches, is that we have this three-party structure where game developers work with AMD to enable some stuff in their games and to optimize for AMD GPUs, and we work with AMD from another angle of this ecosystem, right? And we make sure on the cloud layer everything is perfect and smooth and efficient. So the overall performance when it comes to compatibility with games will improve a lot. I can't say right now whether all anti-cheat systems will, give it the green light, and whether all problems will disappear. We don't know yet, but the overall situation is going to improve significantly. And just because it's a more native environment, that's where games are designed to be played,
Yeah. So I'm guessing you guys are still testing this out to see if that's the case, because that would I'm guessing that would solve a lot of your problems with a lot of the games being added to the platform.
Absolutely.
So I can also see maybe that if you guys went, consumer-based hardware, that the install section would not be necessarily a thing anymore.
Why not?
Maybe.
Why not?
Okay.
Okay. No. I mean, yeah. In install section, the thing about install section is that it allows you to upload the game you own on a VM and to play it, right? So technically, the approach will not change, and the install section will remain. And we still want to get to the point sometime in the future where there is no install section, but there is the opportunity for you to upload any title you want. But that's the actual, that's the idea behind the install section, that there is a field where you can type the name of the game and you can upload it if you own it.
Okay, so you do have plans on that then?
Sure. I mean, we've always had. The problem is, or the challenge is that you need to test all those games to make sure they're running well in your cloud-based environment. Otherwise, you'll end up having lots of issues. I mean, gamers, customers, they will upload certain title and it's not optimized, and it will be laggy. It will, crash, and this will be bad for the end customer experience and for the VM. Technically, for us, also might be bad. That's why we need to test every single game that exists out there, and then we will eliminate the install section. There will be just the functionality for you to upload any title you want. For now, it's the list of titles that we know are compatible with the cloud-based environment.
Okay, I'm guessing that's kind of the problem you're having with Spider-Man 2 right now. You're just having just a couple of things with the infrastructure and the hardware running with the game.
We need to make sure that if people want to take their copy of this game and upload it on the Boosteroid remote cloud gaming desktop, we need to make sure that it will run well, because it's like you're selling a PC, and then the customer brings it home, opens it up, and switches it on, but the game is not running well because the hardware is not supported, and things like that, right? So we don't want to be in this situation. We don't want to provide that kind of service. So we need to make sure when people use our remote cloud-based gaming desktops, for the install section, that they can play the games they want to install and play. That's why it's sometimes taking some time to make sure the cloud-based environment can operate a specific title.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, I mean, all this is really good news. Did you have any additional points that you want to make on this whole deck that you have here?
I guess that's it. Like in a very nutshell, well, things will improve significantly on the image quality side, on the overall smoothness of stream and gameplay, and on the latency. So that's pretty much about it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so
and in a nutshell, I mean, if you're looking at it, last time you mentioned it was like going to be around a 50% increase, and when we're looking at these numbers, it's solidly a 50% increase.
Yeah, totally. I'm very impressed with the server the service level FSR and frame generation, especially for games that really need it. Hopefully that doesn't deteriorate or improve or increase latency to an extent where it's kind of unplayable. Hopefully the latency actually improves.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that as well. So I can't wait to test that.
We too. So there is like a prototype configuration. I haven't tested it yet.
Okay, so you're at the prototype phase. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. But
I guess the question for me is, when are you guys looking to deploy?
Well, our target is probably spring to be ready to buy that stuff. So up until then, we will still be doing R&D, and then we hope to have the working solution that we can actually buy from a vendor sometime in spring this year. Though there is no fixed date for this R&D, and it may take less time or more time, as always. But overall, we don't want to wait until the end of the year. We want to make it very fast. Why? Not only because we want to upgrade the infrastructure and to provide a better service and so on. Capacity is also a very big concern, and I don't know. I don't know if I if I should talk about that, but you know that.
Yeah,
well, you can see the chat is going crazy about capacity right now. That's
capacity.
I don't see. That's a good thing, right? I don't see the chat.
Gotcha. But so I guess is it safe to say though that when you process these upgrades, I mean, it's not like you're taking all the other stuff you already have and getting rid of it. So whenever these upgrades go through, it's going to be a capacity increase across the board wherever they're installed.
Of course, yeah.
Absolutely. Just want to make sure everybody knows that this also means increased capacity as it goes through, because they are talking about it in chat.
So
it just means that there will be more servers, right? And we'll try to make sure every single data center has enough of this new hardware. So we'll be increasing capacity a lot, and we don't want to end up, with little capacity when the seasonal growth comes in autumn, in winter, and of course, right now we also need more capacity, more points of presence. So as soon as we have this configuration ready, we'll start buying this immediately and sending these out to the data centers to make sure we have more VMs for everybody who wants to play. But
awesome.
I don't know, just a hint so that you know that we're actually good guys, not bad guys. So we're not just sitting there and waiting for the new configuration to be assembled. We are still buying more servers of the older configuration, which was not the plan. But we had to do this because that's the immediate response, like the rapid response to the crisis that we have, right?
Yeah, Brazil and a lot of other. So a lot of people are wondering, when do you think that's going to be more servers going to hit a lot of these locations?
Basically, we are sending more servers to Brazil as we speak. So right now they are in the US and they're in the process of being imported to Brazil. And this is literally this was a very complicated thing to allocate this additional capacity to Brazil so quickly, just because these are the servers that were supposed to be in another location, but understanding the demand in Brazil and what's going on and how these queues really suck, understanding that we just took the servers that were supposed to be in another location and send them to Brazil. So they're now on their way. This is though, a stitch, a cosmetic fix. And in about 2 months, we will have even more servers sent to Brazil. So this first batch that we're sending right now will decrease the queue, hopefully to the very minimum.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully. But the next batch that is coming is going to get rid of the queue. I wanted to say forever. I will not say forever, but for now, there will be zero.
That's a lot of machines.
Brazil surprised a lot of people with how thirsty they were. They exploded. So
yeah, that's a lot of machines.
Yeah, so we're going to basically double the amount of infrastructure. So what we have today, plus what we will deploy in a few weeks, we are going to double it in about 2 months, making sure that there is no queue.
Double it.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a hell lot of money and not very easy to kind of to manage.
That's a lot of work.
This is what we need to do. Yeah, absolutely. We all understand that. We are working 24/7 on that.
So I know on your Discord you mentioned that Poland is the first. You're having the first server in Poland, and you're having new server location in the U.S. You know what location that would be?
The new location that is going to be opened very shortly is Omaha. Because we have certain map of where we should deploy infrastructure to make sure the pings are better and the latency is lower and so on. And I know people wanted really to hear California from me.
And there's someone screaming in chat about that right now.
we totally, you see, we're absolutely on the same page with
you've been paying attention because you're guessing what is going on in chat because you can't see it.
I can see it, yeah. But we're definitely on the same page with our users because we know it's not that we're dumb or we're we are very interested in having a good service.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
yeah.
I know California's a big point, but if I remember correctly, to your point, the guys you go with for your servers, they're not in California at all, and that makes it difficult.
Right. And this is not the only thing. There are a few other things, but we remember California, and we will we will make this California dreaming come true very soon, because that's what we need. Because we have this is one of the biggest markets within the United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they go to Seattle, they go to other places. This is not good.
Yeah.
We will have a local point of presence very soon. It's just that it takes some time. And
now, in talking about some time, there are a lot of places that don't have the infrastructure, and you can't just set up a data center in certain locations. The Middle East and Asia and India are big topics. can you talk about a little bit about what's happening in there and why you can't just set up a server right there?
Yeah, we are of course thinking about that, and from the very beginning, Boosteroid was designed as a global player, global service. So it's not like we want to stop with Europe, North and South America. There are certain things from the investment point of view, from the business operations point of view, that you need to figure out if you want to deploy in the Middle East, Asia, and so on. But absolutely, there are very, very huge markets like India, like Indonesia, and where people need cloud gaming. And we know that in India there are about 40 million people that are gamers, but they don't own a gaming device. They go to places like internet cafes where they can play. Yeah, and so there is an immediate customer base of like 40 million people that want to play but do not own the device. So of course this is on the radar, and we're trying to talk to the local partners. Specifically, what I'm talking about is India, Indonesia, South Korea, and Japan, but other markets too. So it's definitely on the radar, but it's not safe for me to provide any dates right now.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's just been a hot topic. Everybody's been asking me. I don't, I don't know the actual what's going on behind the scenes. So all I could say is soon. So now a question that we've had and a video we just had recently was about the tariffs in the U.S. And we had a question for you. Is any of these tariffs going to affect you and the hardware regarding maybe the prices for Boosteroid at all?
Not that we expect something like this. So it's going to be all right, most probably. We don't know because, things evolve very quickly, and new stuff appears almost every day. And so, there's certain uncertainty about that. But we're not scared, or we're not nervous about the supply chain. Everything is going to be all right. There will not be any price increase because of that. So we will not tell you guys tomorrow that, well, our operational costs get higher, so we're going to increase the subscription price. So this is not going to happen. And we will see how it affects the internal processes and the supply chain and so on. But we are pretty safe and solid, and we're not nervous about that at all, because the supply chain has been established a long time ago, and we know all this stuff. We don't utilize the equipment that is made in China, and if there are tariffs on Taiwanese made equipment, we'll see. We have lots of backup options. If there are tariffs on everything, everywhere, then we will see. If there is no country where you can assemble a server and send it to the United States without a 100% tariff, well, that will be a new reality. Based on what we have today, everything is fine.
Yeah. All right. That's a good sign. We were wondering how bad the tariffs, if they ever get really bad, would affect cloud gaming or hardware or anything like that.
Shipment in here.
But we have a couple of questions from the audience.
Sure.
Let's see. The first one I wanted to talk about was HDR. Do you see HDR coming to Boosteroid?
Yeah. On top of those basic improvements that we've talked about before, there are lots of other stuff that is going on behind the scenes in terms of making the service better, the sound, the image, and so on. So I can't really say that this is something we will release very soon, but this is definitely part of the R&D. And when it comes to surround sound, this is something we are particularly interested in car gaming use case. And all those really beautiful audio systems that exist in the car, we need to make sure we can support that stuff on a VM level, and we can support this beautiful sound inside the car to make the gaming truly immersive. But this will be the case, of course, not only for in-car gaming, but overall for the whole service.
Awesome. How about this one? An easy way to sign up for Xbox.
Definitely
Or sign in.
Yeah, we are. As you know, we have a very close partnership with Xbox, and we're working on lots of improvements in optimizations of the flow, how people play Xbox titles on Boosteroid. This includes single sign-on and many other things. So we have you guys covered, and this will be released very soon.
Awesome. I know you talked about this before, but in India is a big thing. But you said
so we don't have any concrete plans to do this in 2025, but we are exploring with the local data centers, with the local telecom companies, and with some other potential local partners. We're exploring how we can do that.
Very cool, because that question used to be, not right now, but now it's got some feelers out. So.
Yes. I think India's infrastructure is growing, so that everything is almost possible now. But we'll just have to wait and see.
Absolutely.
The GOG games. I know it's another platform, third-party platform.
Yeah.
So we were wondering about GOG games.
We will need to figure this out at some point, because of course there is an enormous amount of titles, and some of them have really huge fan base, right? So we will probably start with individual titles, some of the very popular titles from GOG, but we will come to the point where we support the whole launcher, and we'll just stay tuned. And this is also something that will not be released like tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, but it's definitely on the roadmap.
Awesome. And here's another popular one, especially for Android users, getting 120 FPS on Android, and of course HDR, but the AV1 codec to provide better streams.
Right. So 120 FPS on Android is something that we have a sort of internal debate on. And the thing is that there is a very big number of devices that do not support 120 FPS stream. I mean, Android-based devices like phones. At the same time, you do have tablets, right? And some phones that support that. And another thing is that if you are running in 120 FPS video stream, then you have a more bandwidth consumption, which may also be an issue when you use a mobile device, right? So it's not that straightforward, actually. And I know there are many customers that would benefit from it, but there are also, like, as I've said, technically it's not 100% straightforward. So we are looking into ways to improve the FPS and like overall streaming quality on mobile devices, on Android devices, and maybe 120 FPS, and those codecs will be part of this effort to improve the overall performance.
Cool. I know Android was a big thing because a lot of people use Android, especially on their mobile devices. So that's a hot topic. What about mods? I know mods are a big thing for a lot of gamers who are really big into the game that they play, especially games like Cyberpunk and WoW, right. And
whether it's full support or just like Steam Workshop stuff. Are there any plans to touch on that?
Yeah, so we are exploring how we can do that. There are certain technical aspects that we need to figure out because the current architecture and the current system does not support modes, right? But as long as there is a demand for that, and I know this is a really hot topic from many customers, we're looking into how we can enable this.
Yeah, it's always good to leverage that strength of the PC when you can.
Absolutely.
And
I
the
know,
last one of the last
go
ones I have here. The Samsung amp can't run 4K properly. I've noticed. I kind of noticed this too. So is 4K support going to be very big in a lot of the other devices going forward?
Yeah. So that's probably that's probably the question you should ask the support team, or maybe you have asked them already. Hopefully they've helped you. But anyway, when it comes to Samsung app and Samsung TVs in general, of course, many of them are 4K. When you use them, there are certain things that you should know about the mode of the TV. It should be in a game mode, which improves the latency significantly, and so on. So we basically, we are working with Samsung, and we are testing pretty much any new device that is released, right? And Samsung is our partner, a very, very close one. So we work together to make sure everything works well, because there are certain issues that exist on TVs, right? And depending on the model, this can be like low FPS with a high resolution and things like that.
Yeah, a lot of it
it
has
all
to do with the decoding of the TVs.
Yeah.
Right. So
stuff. It's expensive and it's hard.
correct.
Yeah,
correct.
TVs
So-
aren't kind of up to date with really fast processors to decode 4K as much as we like to. Yes.
Yeah, but it depends on the model, So sometimes
Yeah.
it's better, sometimes it's a bit worse. So
Yeah, I've noticed that this one's a pretty new one, and it still has
Okay.
a little bit of trouble,
Oh, yeah.
especially on Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Is there any plans to allow server selection?
Well, there is actually no plan to do that. And the thing is that you can select already a remote location, right? So, for example, in Brazil, if you don't want to wait in the queue, you can select connect me to the remote location, which is the US, and you will play on the US servers where there is no queue and huge latency. But many customers have played before, and before we launched, right? So maybe for some of them it's a better option than to wait in a queue. But I mean, both options suck. But sometimes you need to choose the best one out of two bad options. But this is as maybe someone has just joined us. This is going to be fixed very soon. Very soon, the servers are on their way already. Yeah. So the system automatically detects where you are and connects you to the closest server. And let's say you are in, I don't know, in Germany, and you're connected to France, and you know that Boosteroid has a server in Germany, and you're like, why am I not connected to Germany? Why am I going to France? That's because that's the closest route, right? So if you select Germany, thinking of like improving your experience, that this will not be the case. The experience will get worse because the system automatically detects where you should go, which data center is the closest. And now there are certain things, there are many things that like, depending on your internet provider, you may have a shorter internet route to certain data center, which may not be in your country. So like it's not possible to outsmart the system that really connects you to the closest server, right? And that's why it makes little sense to allow server selection. I don't know, maybe there are some other points and some other reasons why people want that. This will be very interesting to know, and maybe we're missing something. But as I see it now, you're automatically connected to the closest server, and if you select a different one, this may not be the optimal one. So the latency may increase, the latency to game servers may increase, and many things like that.
No, it's understandable. Now I know Canadian servers. People have Canadian servers. A lot of other platforms. This is also a hot topic. I know, Montreal has pretty good data centers. We were wondering about Canadian servers if that
Yeah.
was in the ballpark.
In fact, guys, in fact, the average latency from Canada, from the east of the country, to the servers that we have in US is like 20 milliseconds. So it's pretty good. Many people, Californians have the average latency higher than Canadians. So as of today, we're not planning a separate data center there, but as we expand in the North America, we will definitely have a data center in Canada. That's 100%. But just to be sure, it's already okay now, and the average latency is 20 milliseconds. And maybe some people will say, I don't care about the average latency, mine is higher. Well, this is possible. But overall, most of the customers, they have latency about 20 milliseconds to our servers in around New York. We have several locations nearby, also Chicago, and these are the closest to Canada.
Yeah, I know the ones in Philadelphia. That's what we connect to.
Yeah,
Chicago and with Seattle, we're probably the closest ones.
Yeah, Seattle is close to Vancouver, right?
Yeah.
This is a personal one, but I also think that there's some confusion amongst people that think they're getting redirected to France when they're not, just because when Steam hits Boosteroid for our login stuff, it'll sometimes direct us and say it's being logged in from France, even though the server is more local. I've noticed a lot of the comments are people saying, why am I being connected to France instead of X?
Yeah, I've seen that as well. Yeah, I've seen that.
I think there's just some confusion.
Right. So first of all, you're never connected to France if you are in the United States. This cannot happen technically. And if you see this, in some system logs or elsewhere, this is not true. You can't really connect to the servers in France from the United States. But many people see this, and it's of course it's bad and frustrating, but it will not affect your experience. If you see somewhere on Steam or elsewhere that you are kind of connected to French servers, that's not the case. You will still have a connection to the US server. The experience will be good. The latency will not be intercontinental. Everything is going to be fine. The reason for that is that the ISP that we use in the United States, one of those, is we have not to dive very deep into the details. It's the US ISP that is also available in Europe, and we have some certain internal communication through the European IPs or something. So that's the case. It's we're trying to solve this, but we know people from time to time see this, but do not pay any attention. You're staying in the US, the latency is low, and everything is fine.
Yeah. Here's another one. Local saves and saving the game settings or the graphic settings. I know this is available in some games, but not all games.
Yeah, local saves, I think, should be available in all games that do not support cloud saves. So that should be available. And saving the game settings, we I don't know, maybe there are also certain games that already support that, but we're definitely going to make this list of the games that support that wider and wider. There are certain like technical challenges, but we'll figure it out because of course it's important. And me, for example, I'm like I don't know, a casual gamer, and I don't really change settings because I may make things worse if I touch it. I like the default settings, but of course, of course, many people are more sophisticated players and they want to change something, and they don't want to do this all the time, every time they launch a game, right? So this is not a good experience. We know that.
Yeah. We've already covered Middle East. We actually already covered, PUBG and EA games earlier in the stream. Subscription upgraded to newer hardware. Yeah. Everybody's getting upgraded, correct?
Sure, this will not be a
eventually.
separate tier.
Yeah. It's
same
not a separate
tiers.
tier, so everybody gets. Everybody gets this.
Yeah.
Now, VRR supports. Any word about this?
Well, you know, that's probably a super tech question to me. So I don't know. Maybe someone, maybe someone in the comments from the team, they can respond. I'm not sure, but anyway, so we'll need to to ping the tech guys to see if they're up to this. I've noted that down. Yeah, we'll check that.
I will. Let's see. We got time for maybe a couple more. iOS Apple app.
iOS. For now, the service is available in the browser, Safari, Chrome. But when it comes to native support on iOS, this is not on the roadmap right now. But there's not a lot I can tell about that. But in a very nutshell, we want to be closer to the Apple customers because it's always been a problem for them to play games, right? That are Windows based, that are too heavy for MacBook Air, many other use cases. So we understand how we can really support gamers on Apple devices, and this includes Apple TV, Mac, and iOS as well. So we will have lots of improvements when it comes to the interaction with Apple ecosystem. This will definitely be released in 2025. And I mean, there's not a lot I can tell, and I really want to, but I can't. But just stay tuned, and you will see lots of exciting updates if you are an Apple customer. This will be super relevant to you.
Okay. You got another one about South America or South Africa. That's another destination you guys are probably looking into.
Yeah, absolutely. Africa, not only South Africa, but Africa in general is something we're actively exploring. And of course, markets like Nigeria, very big markets where people need some sort of a solution like cloud gaming, right? Because it's easier, it's cheaper, and we are the main reason why we're not in South Africa, in India, in Asia Pacific, is that we're trying to figure out Europe, North America, and South America. The demand is so crazy and so huge, and we need so much infrastructure and so much effort that we can't really support, the rollouts in other regions. We're still doing this. We're talking to local partners. We are planning this for 2025, 2026. and we'll definitely get there. And that's just a matter of time, because you really need to make sure you are providing a good service where you are already available. And this, first of all, comes down to capacity. So we need to make sure we have enough capacity in the regions where customers are already using us before we allocate this capacity for other regions where we're not yet available.
That's good. That's what they want to hear for sure.
Yeah,
in those
totally.
places.
I mean, you guys want to be everywhere. That's the whole idea.
Sure. And
Yeah.
I mean, I literally, believe me, I talked to myself. I talked to data centers in New Zealand. So we are literally covering right now, covering the whole world with talks and negotiations and selecting local partnerships and trying to allocate the budget for the rollout and so on. So it's a preparation that is happening all over the world. Somewhere it's faster, somewhere it's slower, but it's happening all over the world.
Yeah.
And I would say that in within 2025, it will become much more clear, where we are going to launch in 2026. And 2026 is when we will have a more dedication to a really global expansion to the regions where we were not available before.
You said 2026?
Right, because this year we are sending more servers and expanding the infrastructure on the existing markets, and at the same time actively preparing the global rollouts outside Europe, North and South America. But we can't deploy until we prepare the deployment. So this year is more about expansion in existing markets and preparing for the deployments and the new ones that will happen next year.
Cool. All right, I think we've got time for maybe just a couple more. We've already talked about Ubisoft in a previous stream. We talked about the VM problems and the anti-cheat earlier in the stream.
Did you see Max popped in and said that VR support is it's in the works?
VR support is in the works. Okay, Max.
Yeah, so Max swooped in and answered that one.
Okay.
Fantastic. Ground control.
Yeah, ground control. Let's see. We talked about Africa, the Middle East. Is there anything else that you guys can think of? Hot topic? I can't think of anything.
Yeah. I'm excited that everybody's getting boosts. You guys are... the Brazil stuff is definitely the hottest topic when I've been looking around the community, and I'm glad that you're already on it. So
yeah. We already talked about Spider-Man 2. It's still in the works.
Just coming back to Brazil, the whole point of the situation is not that we thought we would not have that many customers in Brazil. So we're not. We're not dumb, right? We know that, as I really liked many people in the comments saying things that Brazil has a continental size, which is absolutely true, right? So we understand that. The thing is that when we the whole point is that we just wanted to launch so desperately in Brazil as soon as it was possible, and when we planned the rollout, we of course considered the number of customers, the number of active sessions from Brazil, plus some room for growth, and we were not supposed to have any queues. But then we had this issue with the R&D for the new configuration. The new that is now becoming old. This one based on 7900 XT GPU. So the R&D took a bit longer than we thought, and the overall process was delayed. And when we actually came to the point where we can deploy, the market, our customer base in Brazil, by that time exploded and was much bigger than it used to be when we planned the deployment.
Yeah.
And we had a choice between bringing what we have to Brazil are not bringing anything at all. And the decision was made to launch with this initial number of servers, which was, I mean, this R&D delay and so on was really outside of our control. I mean, nobody cares, of course, because the customers should not, care about R&D.
Yeah.
They buy the service, and
Yeah.
and that's it.
They just
But
want their service. Yeah.
right, but just what was going on behind the scenes. So if we deploy when we thought we would, there would be no queues, right? But just because there was a certain time frame before we planned the deployment and when we actually made it, and during this time the customer base increased a lot, and this is why the people had queues and still have queues, which suck and which is crazy. That's no doubt. And
this is a good problem to have, though.
I don't know.
For the future.
This is like the demand for cloud is growing tremendously.
Yeah, and it's we'll see in a few years to come. We'll see when tens of millions of customers transition to cloud gaming. So what we have today is like the first wave, and the tsunami is coming in a couple of years. Yeah. And we should be prepared for, and everybody, NVIDIA, Microsoft, us, we should be prepared for a massive adoption and massive transition, not just, millions, but tens of millions and hundreds of millions of customers to cloud gaming. So we should make sure we have enough infrastructure. We should make sure we have a good service for both sophisticated gamers and dummies, like myself. And we should be prepared to become the core layer of the gaming industry, to become a gaming computer, because as I've said before, by the early 30s, 90% of customers are expected to use cloud gaming, right? So we should be prepared to become this integral part of the ecosystem, the literally the means of playing, right? And this is a very big task, and we're doing our part. I hope other players are doing their part, so that we go together to the brighter future of gaming.
Right. Oh, yeah. Awesome. I think that's just about everything. I guess until the next time, right?
Something I want to highlight, though, like we work with a lot of cloud gaming companies. We talk, we're trying to get as much info as we can. Boosteroid is one of like the only one that really will come have these heart-to-heart conversations with us. Like most of the other guys will give us like a weird PR message, and like the fact that you will talk to us, you went under the grill and answered questions live from a chat. You had no idea what you were about to get hit with. I appreciate that, because most of these companies are not as personable as that, and they're not really courageous enough to put themselves under the fire like this. So thank you a lot.
They really worry. I think they worry about the stock price and so on. We don't, because we're not a public company.
Private, man. It's benefits of being private.
Yeah. Being private and being way less corporate in terms of the structure and the team and so on. So we're still very, very close to the customer, very on the ground, down to earth in a very good way. And we as we grow as a company and as a team, we've managed so far to maintain this. And it's not like we've already grown from 100 to 100,000 employees. We're still on the way, but already today I see the development inside the company is going into the right direction, because we keep being close to people, and we keep being honest, and sometimes we say something and it turns out in a different way. We acknowledge this, because that's life, that's business, and for us it's it's very important to build this sort of trust with the community. And you can't do that if you're not open. You can't do that if you are providing some generic messages like we thank you for your message. We will do our best to resolve the problem. So
Yeah,
that's not our approach.
Just being able to talk to you is nice. Whereas sometimes we talk to other people and it's like, press 1 for standard answer. Like, we're like, geez, why even bother sometimes?
Yeah, this is wonderful. I love these interviews, these conversations that we're having. We love to continue them going forward. If there's any big news, we love to talk about that. Have a video, sit down, have some Q&A. This is great.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you very much, guys, for providing this space to talk to you and to the people. That's great.
Thank you for your time, and thank you for giving us like relevant, good news instead of what we got the last time we were covering an organization that, we'll just say, it wasn't Boosteroid. It was not great news.
Okay.
And thank you all for coming. I might make a recap of all this in a separate video for, too long didn't read kind of deal.
Yeah, we usually get that for you.
Yeah. So I'll probably make that soon and look for that coming down the line. So thank you all for joining, and we'll see you on the next time.
Take care. Take care.
Appreciate everybody. Appreciate you, Vlad.
Thank you.
Vlad.
Take care.